Today I'm speaking with Dr. Edmund Chen, one of the founding fathers of longevity and anti-aging medicine. Dr. Chen's practice is based in Palm Springs. He received his training at the University of Southern California Medical Center in rehabilitation medicine. There he learned the importance of hormone balancing during these rehabilitation years, when after replacing hormones in patients with damaged glands, he could see tremendous differences in their recoveries. Dr. Chen is the first doctor in the United States to use growth hormone on adults clinically and to advocate the balance of all bioidentical hormones that affect aging. Welcome, Dr. Chen.
Thank you for having me.
Everyone ideally would like to stay young and healthy really for as long as they can, but of course at a certain point, age, as they say, catches up with us. I saw you on Trinity Broadcasting Network on a show where you were talking about how to remain young and healthy even in your later years.
The human process takes each and every one of us on an incredible journey. You begin in your mid-20s with a young, powerful body, and you can hardly imagine being in any other state than youth. But over time, this one sturdy body slowly grows old. Your body continues to change each year, increasing your chances of death. I'm a Christian. The Bible says your body is your temple. As I explained in the TBN show, there are ways to live a better life and to avoid the aging process.
All right, well, let's take a look.
Your body, this body, is the temple. That Holy Spirit lives in it.
Yes, it does.
And we forget that message all the time.
Okay.
We spend money on making ourselves beautiful, young, haircuts, cosmetics, then houses, then cars.
Yes.
And clothes. If I ask you how much money last year you spent on checking your temple, most answers are, well, is it covered by insurance? If it's not, I won't.
Well, let me just answer that for us. I don't know that we had a checkup, and the only time we kind of ever go to the doctor, and I don't even remember last year if we did, it would only be because, it was a couple of years
pain?
ago. Yeah, because of a sickness or something like that. You wait till it breaks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is wrong. When you get a disease, diabetes, hypertension, stroke, heart attack, you say, why, God? And I speak for God to you. You didn't check my temple.
Wow.
That's why I let it break. You let it break. Wow. You disappointed me. Now you come to me and ask me for help?
Wow.
Since when you spend money on it to check me out, check my temple out? It was leaking, you didn't care.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
You're passionate about this, aren't you?
Yes.
You know, it's interesting. We have scheduled maintenance. You know, my son has a Honda Ridgeline car, and it has scheduled maintenance. And the little thing starts beeping on the dashboard, you know, time for service, time for service. And you get that, and you think about scheduled maintenance on your car, but you don't think about scheduled maintenance. And you're saying that we need to check our hormones. Why?
Because this year, God has spoken again.
Okay.
Through the Nobel Prize. This year's Nobel Prize in Medicine was given to the field of telomere, and I'll explain later what it is. Okay. Telomerase, I'll explain later what it is. And what controls telomerase and telomere? Hormones.
That's the first I've ever heard of the telomere.
The discovery of the telomere, that portion of the human DNA that controls lifespan in our cells, give us the hope that we can slow down the aging process. The enzyme telomerase, which keeps the telomere of our DNA long and healthy, is capable of giving human cells immortality. Now, scientists have discovered that hormones to be the only substance to activate the telomerase. It's no wonder that bioidentical hormone supplementation has been so successful in improving age-related diseases and in reversing biological age. And it all starts at the cellular level. We need to let the public know the significance of Nobel Prize 2009 in medicine. Okay, the prize was given in medicine 2009 to 3 scientists who proved to the whole world that human cells, not organs, not human bodies, the total human being, but just cells, human cells, your human cells, can be made to live eternally. That's very, very significant, because the next step is the organ, and the next step is the human total body. How did the scientists make the cells live forever? Because the structure telomere in our DNA controls the longevity of the cell. When the telomere at the end of the DNA is very short, the cell gets old. When it's gone, the cell dies. What is telomere in another layman's way of explaining it? It's like a shoelace tip. With the tip, the shoelace lasts longer, isn't it? And it gives the longevity. And that's exactly the function of telomere. Telomerase is like the engineer to the telomere. In fact, that's why it's given that word. It's an RNA molecule, it's just a little molecule that every day, sleeping, it wakes up to repair the tip by injecting telomerase through virus and another bacteria. They are able to introduce telomerase into the cell of the single cell structure, and that cell goes on and on and on and on. This telomerase listens to what? What is the order? What's the email? What is the email that we're giving it to the telomerase? The hormones. The email hits your telomerase and tell your telomerase, wake up, buddy, work. So when your hormones are optimum, your emails are optimum. So please check your hormones yearly.
Interesting. I don't think most people give hormones much thought when it comes to maintaining your health.
You have to keep your hormone levels optimum. That's so important. We age because the hormone levels drop. We know that maintaining hormone levels can prevent age-related diseases and turn back our biological age, thereby increasing our health span and life expectancy. Most of all, it improves our quality of life by bringing our hormone levels up to those of a young adult.
In one TV interview, I saw you talked about an animal that ages differently than humans.
The hormone levels in the seagulls stay optimum throughout their lives. In other words, they don't go through the age-related diseases like we do at all. When their time is up, they fall into the ocean.
All right, let's take a look at that interview.
Do we have a mammal or an animal that has a telomere that's not shortened in the lifespan? Yes, the seagull. The old seagull competes with the young ones on the ocean for fish. You know, the nature could not have designed a seagull that has arthritis or stroke or heart attack and therefore cannot partially disabled and cannot compete with the young ones for fish. So the nature had to design for a seagull that has a lifespan, or more important, a health span that's as full as the lifespan. Until the last day, he drops in the ocean and dies. Okay, so yes, the seagull's telomere is not shortened throughout their lifespan. So my goal in life is to make myself and imitate the seagull so that the tip of the shoelace, the telomere on my DNA stays long till the last day on this planet.
What a life those seagulls have. I had no idea.
It's true. I really want to live each and every day like that seagull until it's my time to go. I wouldn't have it any other way.
It's ideas like that that make you so original. You've always been a little bit of a renegade.
You could say that.
Is it true that you were arrested by the federal government for using growth hormone in adults when it was only approved for children?
Yes, it's true. I explained it best on the TBN show.
All right, let's take a look at that clip.
Here's Dr. Chen's book, Age Reversal, From Hormones to Telomeres.
Yes.
And this book you did was published in 1998.
That's
you
right.
were ahead of the curve by some
11
10 or
years,
11
at
years.
least.
And now, real quickly, the Red Sea opened for this kind of study when you decided it was more important to continue your studies when the federal government said you could not do hormone therapies to adults. So just explain that briefly, and then we'll get right back into the importance of hormones.
Okay. Hormones back then is something doctors ignore.
Okay.
Unless you have a problem, thyroid hormone, diabetes, or menopause.
Okay.
Then you would check.
And you're
those.
talking the 90s or the 80s, 90s.
Yes, the
80s. and
80s.
90s.
But then I already know that all the hormones should be looked at, should be checked, and there's a particular hormone that the scientists at the this field found out that growth hormone, the human growth hormone, is the most powerful hormone to lengthen the telomere,
Gotcha.
the shoelace tip.
The tip of the shoelace.
Okay,
right,
that's the most powerful.
Right.
In 1994, the federal law says he, the physician, whoever prescribes, dispenses human growth hormone to an adult, children allowed, but adult is guilty of felony, punishable by 5 years in prison and $250,000 per count.
Wow.
1994. That law is still in the books, not repealed because no legislature, the Congress had not repealed it. So that's what the stumbling block. That's the Red Sea. That's the river I cannot cross.
Back in the mid 90s, you decided to do what?
In the mid 90s, I decided to, shall we say, forget about the law.
Okay.
And violated it. Okay, with the intention of knowing the first person that would be persecuted.
Gotcha.
And hopefully win the persecution. Then stare decisis. U.S. law is a case law country. That means that once a federal judge overthrows a law, that law is invalid, even though it's in a book.
Gotcha.
And that's what I decided to do in 1994, and I was arrested for it. I was charged 7 counts in an indictment, and those indictments were dismissed in 9 months.
Wow.
Wow.
And that was your Red Sea, really, for this entire
Right.
type of treatment and this
Exactly.
entire research for telomeres, hormones, and basically age reversing.
That is an amazing story. I bet that experience really gave you an extra kind of burst of motivation to keep you doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. It was a harrowing experience to be arrested. But everything happens for a reason. I stood my ground, and the entire case was dismissed. Now, other doctors in California can legally give growth hormone to adults, just like I did.
Do you know how many other doctors in the U.S. are doing what you do, that is, optimizing one's own hormones to fight age-related diseases?
At last count, there are over 2,000 doctors in U.S. today doing that. But still, many people don't know anything about bioidentical hormone therapy or about telomeres. It's my job to explain it to the world.
There are 12 hormones, there are hundreds of hormones, but there are 12 that are vital. It's like the roof, the refrigerator, the air conditioning system, and the toilet system, okay?
Gotcha.
The plumbing. And when those fails, your house don't work.
Gotcha.
So you gotta check those systems every year.
Okay.
Check these hormones every year and make sure they're working, humming along.
Give us the names of these important 12 ones.
The human
12.
growth hormone I mentioned,
Okay.
the testosterone for men,
Okay.
definitely.
Yep.
The progesterone and estrogen for women,
Okay.
definitely. The
Definitely.
thyroid, definitely. The insulin,
Insulin.
definitely.
Insulin is a hormone.
Yes,
I didn't even
insulin
know
is a
that.
hormone. Now, let me explain what hormone is. Most people don't even know what a hormone is.
Okay, I don't. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
a hormone is simply a letter. Okay, it's a letter, the Greek word for letter. Letter secreted by a gland telling another organ what to do. Call it an email, call it a fax.
Wow.
So next time I say hormone, you say fax. Good. Next time I say hormone, you say email. Good.
Okay.
Next time I say hormone, you say letter. Good. Same thing. It's
Okay.
a
Sending a
letter.
message.
It's
Sending
a
a message.
letter, protein letter, that one organ sends to another organ says, work.
Okay,
Yes.
how many of the hormones in our body start decreasing?
12 of them.
Okay, so that's
About.
why you talk about the 12 important
Yes,
ones.
the important ones.
The
You check them.
other, we continue to create at the same level. There's 12 that diminish.
Right.
Is
And-
insulin one of them?
Yes, yes.
That's why diabetes and all of this.
Yes, and diabetes can be diagnosed, or the likelihood of getting diabetes, 10, 15, 20 years before it happens.
How would somebody go and get their hormones checked? I'm not even sure how to do this.
You should say, Doc, give me a prescription to check my hormones, my 12 important
You
hormones.
need that from a doctor.
You need a prescription, yes.
Okay,
Just to check.
just to check.
Yes, just to check. Blood check.
Okay, and then what do you do once you get a
Then you
prescription?
take that little piece of paper,
Uh-huh.
go into any lab, any hospital, and you say, draw my blood. Here I am, draw my blood. They'll draw your blood, 2 tubes, and boom, in 2 weeks, all the values come out. The hospitals and the labs are even smart enough to give you the reference values. You'll see what a 20-year-old has. You see what a 60-year-old has.
Okay.
And you say to yourself, oops, I'm out of the range like a 60-year-old. I'm only 20. I'm out of 60. Disease, alarm. Your plumbing stopped working. You got to replace that. Okay.
Oh, wow.
If you're in somewhere in between, okay, it's rusted, it's not flushing well. Okay. Okay. You know exactly where you stand, and you say, okay, this year I don't have money. Next year, when I have money, what? How much is toilet flush cost? Well, $25. I don't have that $25. This year I'll do it.
I see.
I'll replace it. See, you have the choice to decide when to fix that problem.
You used to specialize in another medical field, right?
Yes, I was a rehabilitation medicine specialist.
What made you change to your current field?
The goal of the specialty of rehabilitation medicine is to bring a medically or physically disabled person to his optimum functional target. Using male hormone to rehabilitate a castrated male or a female hormone to rehabilitate a female who had her ovaries removed was my job. In doing that, I saw the power of hormones and how in one day they can change a person 100%. So I decided to subspecialize. Instead of doing general rehabilitation medicine, I specialize in hormone rehabilitation and telomere lengthening.
When you first started moving in this direction, you had a bad heart, age 40.
Yes.
And why did you stop as a doctor? You were a cardiologist. Why did you stop the traditional route?
Because the traditional route actually treats a person when the person is sick. When the cell is diseased and aged, we call it, okay? And I want to be proactive. I want to prevent, and I want to be able to tell, oh, I am close to getting sick now. I want to be able to look at my heart cells and look at the telomere. Oh, it's so short, man, I'm lucky. Let's do something about it, lengthen it, exercise, eat properly. I want to be able to look at the pancreatic cell, look at the telomere, how long it is. Oh, it's so short. I'm lucky. I don't have diabetes yet, but let me do something about it. I want to prevent these diseases from coming on to me. So that's why the traditional medicine was not adequate.
So what you promote is hormone supplementation. Can you talk about what that consists of, how you got started?
In 1994, I started to supplement all the hormones that decline with age. We leave alone all the hormones that don't decline with age. We supplement those declining hormones to the optimum levels of those of a 20-year-old. Between 1994 and 1999, we treated over 1,000 patients, and we published our results with Dr. Leon Terry of the Medical College of Wisconsin in the fall of 1999 in the issue of Journal of Advancement in Medicine. Subsequently, I discovered that multiple sclerosis